Hi.
It's episode 8.
Yeah, it is.
And
well, is it?
Great.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
It is.
We just discussed this.
Okay. We double checked before we pressed record and I'm still nervous.
It's 8.
Happy Saturday. Well, for whenever this comes out, I guess. Happy day to you.
Stop telling everyone we record on Saturdays. I'm tired of you
I thought by now we'd have other plans.
Really discreet information.
Welcome to And That's Why We Drink podcast, hosted by me only.
Hosted by Emily.
Yep.
And I'm just here along for the ride.
Yeah.
And my name is Christine.
How are you?
I'm great. I had a beer last episode, and this week I'm back to
There's your wine.
the wine. It feels so good to be reunited. Not like it's been very long, but it feels good.
I'm having a strawberry milkshake before you don't even bother asking me.
Oh, I forgot again.
Yeah. And the last time I had a strawberry shake, I was not a fan, but this one's actually really good.
Awesome.
Yeah. And there's more of it. It's a bigger cup.
Oh, that's always better.
Yeah.
We're in America. More is better.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything you want to say?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Before I forget, I have a lot of things to say.
Okay. Start doing it.
But only one of them relates to this podcast, so I'm just going to stick to that for now.
Okay.
We'll see what else I can stuff into this podcast. Okay. So before I forget, a Twitter user named @Neezus, period.
Like Yeezus?
I guess.
With an N?
Yeah.
Like knees and Yeezus.
But like Neezus, period.
That's literally knees and Yeezus put together.
Well, knees is spelled with a K, so I didn't want to...
What'd you say? I wasn't listening. I thought you said Knees, like
no,
knees.
All
right.
Anyway, I forget what I was saying about her. But she messaged me, or she sent a tweet, and she knows how much I like boxed wine.
We all do.
But only from Trader Joe's. I don't do like the Franzia shit, but...
Right.
Okay, so she messaged me and was like, oh, goon. She said something about goon in Australia. And I was like, what the hell? So I Googled it, and boxed wine in Australia is called goon. And it's like this famous drink, and it's like huge. There's BuzzFeed articles written about it.
Wait, so like is goon like how we say boxed wine is the vocabulary?
I think so. I don't think
or is goon a brand of boxed wine?
No, I don't think it's a brand as far as I can tell. God,
so like you could just say, oh, I love goon. And
I'm sorry, Neezus, if I'm fucking this up. But I'm pretty sure, like, if you Google it, it's just people with all these boxed wines, and they take the bag, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so it is. I just looked it up. It's a... Urban Dictionary, a silver sack filled with cheap wine found within a cardboard box.
With Christine's name written all over it.
With me at the other end of the bag.
With a funnel attached.
So it's like the most famous thing. It's a famous drink in Australia. Oh. And I guess they play this game called Goon of Fortune. And she said something like, oh, they attach it to where you hang your clothes.
What?
A drying rack? What are those things called?
Where are you at what stage are the clothes where you're hanging them?
When you're drying them.
Oh, like a clothesline?
Yeah, a clothesline. My mom says...
Are we hanging them on hangers because they're clean?
No, sorry. My mom always says drying rack because she doesn't know English very well. Sorry, that was really rude. I'm sorry.
It's okay. My mom's only language is English and she doesn't really know it that well. So
my dad still says hair salon instead of salon. Like sometimes
my mom says gas station when she means grocery store.
Well, that's really wrong.
So, your mom can't be all that bad.
My mom pronounces the word, what's the word I always fuck it up?
Is it German or English?
It's English.
Do you mess it up too?
No, I just always forget it's like a long word that starts with H. Not hyperbole.
Hippopotamus. Are you just going to type in H on Google and hope the word pops up? Hypothesis?
No, but it's something like that. It's like,
do you say any words that are still German?
I say weird idioms sometimes. Like, I'll say things the way... Like, I'll say, oh, I have arrived here. And people are like, why are you saying that? But
you have said that. I just always thought you were trying to be funny.
No, I literally... My parents both...
Sorry for me laughing every time you talk to me.
People will literally make fun of that. I don't know. There's certain phrases that I don't realize are weird until people kind of look at me.
It's okay. I'll say things that I didn't realize were Southern slang.
Yeah.
And out here, everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, okay, so a sun shower. You know what those are?
We were just talking about this an hour ago. I was about to ask, what do you call a sun shower?
I call it the devil's beating his wife.
We couldn't come up with it. We said it's slang with the devil.
Yeah. Were you the ones that didn't know what I was talking about when I said that?
Well, I for sure don't know what you're talking about.
I said it at work, I think, because I said, oh, the devil's beating his wife, and everyone was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I said, there's a sun shower outside. Because it is called a sun shower, but when you see the sun shower, you're supposed to say out loud, oh, the devil's beating his wife.
See, okay, because we had this conversation earlier about like weird idioms, and we were like, sometimes Southern people say something about the devil.
Oh, well, we say a lot of things about the devil. Like, we throw God into everything. God willing, if the... I don't know. Lord willing if the creek don't rise.
What the fuck?
Okay.
Oh, I found it! Okay.
What's the word?
Okay, she finally got back to me. The word is haphazardly, and she would read it and stuff, and she knew what it meant, but she would say, haphazardly, and we were like, what? And she would go, you know, he did it really haphazardly. And we were like, literally, what are you saying?
Haphazardly.
Yeah, haphazardly is
Jesus.
the one. So anyway.
We got to get away from this conversation.
I'm just like...
feel my brain melting.
derailing hard. So anyway.
Boxed wine game.
So the wine game is where they attach it to a clothesline and spin it around, I guess. I didn't like, there's YouTube videos of this. I don't know. And it's like a famous drinking game.
So they take bags of wine,
yeah,
hang it on a
clip
clothesline.
it on a clothesline.
Uh-huh.
I don't totally get it, but I think they like...
And like it's a giant
stand
sprinkler
under
of
it?
wine.
Yeah.
Or something. You just let wine rain on
I'm
you.
probably totally not
It's
doing
like
this
an
correctly.
Indian tribal dance.
But there's like...
Like letting it rain on you for good fortune.
with like Strawberry Fields Franzia.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so yeah, I mean there's like videos, it's like attached to a clothesline. She goes, oh, we attached goon to the clothesline, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And the devil's beating his wife.
Haphazardly. I don't get it. Anyway.
Wow. This is the greatest episode we've ever done. If anyone's still listening, welcome to episode 8.
Oh, I just got to add, I'm drinking, shout out to my mommy who says haphazardly, but I'm drinking Fetzer, which is the wine she drank in the 90s back with my neighbor's mom. They would sit on the porch and drink Fetzer. Anyway, so I'm drinking Fetzer in honor of you, mother dearest.
Who
I just bashed on radio. So.
All right. Are you drinking for any reason besides the fact our mothers can't speak English?
And apparently neither can I. No. I'm feeling good about...
What is wrong with you? Is your life perfect all of a sudden?
No, it's just a lot better than it has been for about a year. Or like 25 years. So I feel like I'm on the up and up right now, and I don't want to, put any negative energy out there.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
I guess I'll pretend my life's
I'm
perfect
sure
too.
it's short-lived.
I have a wine fact / milkshake fact.
Enlighten me.
Okay, tell me if this is something other people already know. Red wines are red because the fermentation process extracts color from the grape skins.
Oh.
But white wines are not fermented with the skins on them, which is what makes them white.
You're kidding.
Oh, so you didn't know that?
I thought they were made from like green grapes and stuff.
That's what I thought too. I thought purple grapes make red wine
Shit.
and green grapes make white wine. But apparently it's if the skin is on it or not.
What makes rosé?
Love. I don't know.
Roses.
Hopes.
Dreams.
So my milkshake fact I had, and then it decided to go away on me. So this,
I'm just like waved her arms in the air and then like
I
rolled
need to
her
like
eyes.
zen and get back into it.
That was what that was. Okay.
This also pertains to you.
Oh, I love things that are about me.
So this milkshake is supposed to cure hangovers.
Oh shit.
So I might be coming over in the morning.
I'll see you in the morning.
If you have a banana milkshake with honey, it's supposed to be the perfect cure.
That sounds really good too.
I saw that fact somewhere else, and that actually had the reason why. It was something like because the banana is really like thick, so it like sits in your stomach, and then the honey does something to balance out.
Interesting. Like nausea or something?
I don't know if it's nausea or like the sweetness in it kind of like gives you like the hair of the dog that bit you.
Oh,
I mean?
interesting.
I don't know. I don't know anything. But they're your facts, people. Do what you want
They're
with them.
facts. They're not.
Yeah, I'm not making that up.
No. We're well researched.
Now that we got all that out of the way, you ready for some information? I hope a teacher goes into a classroom.
Yeah.
I hope if I were a teacher, I would just be like ready for some information.
I just want you to know she has her hands on her hips and she's like, are you ready? After I gave you some facts, are you ready for some information? Like, I don't know what that means, but okay.
I just meant about ghosts. I just wanted to tell my story.
Oh, man. I feel like the last episode I was derailing.
And one of my dreams is to be a professor one day. I hope that's my first day of class.
Good luck with that, my love. Because you're
Ready for some information.
Clearly, none of us are ever going to be able to run for office. So hopefully, professor is something we can accomplish.
I have tears in my eyes.
I'm pouring my Fetzer.
Hey, pour some extra for you because I forgot to tell you another reason that I drink.
Uh-oh.
Is because I'm mad at you. Are you ready for why?
Why?
Because
I'm sad. Why are you mad at me?
Because your mom was in town last weekend, correct?
Yeah.
And when we started this podcast, did I or did I not say, let's go to the Queen Mary together? You ruined it.
Okay. Oh, I
ruined
didn't know. But
you are a liar. I sat right here at this table. Your brother was on that couch. And I said, let's go. And you said, yeah, we'll bring Alex and Blaze. And I said, okay.
Yeah, but I thought we were going to... But I
don't want to hear it.
But I was drinking. But, okay, my mom literally called me. She's like, ever since the 80s, I wanted to go to this ship. And she's like, so I bought us tickets.
Look, I'm going to...
And I'm not going to be like, no, Mom, I refuse.
Look, because it's your mom, I'm going to let it slide. But had you done that with anyone else?
No, I wouldn't, though. That's the thing. And also...
I don't believe you.
No, but also I made sure we only did just, like, the tour. Like, we didn't do, like, the paranormal investigation. Like, that I want to do with you. Because I didn't want to do that. Plus, it's more expensive. So the paranormal stuff I'd rather do with you.
I'm giving her the death stare right now.
I'm staring into a corner.
This is the reason I was shook because because I wrote all of these notes. I worked so hard on this research. I was
You're doing the Queen.
Why would I bring this up?
I'm really slow. I'm sorry. You're doing the Queen Mary.
Wow. Yeah, I'm about to.
I just got really hung up on the fact that you're mad at me, and now I feel like crying.
Keep those tears where they belong.
I have an insane guilt complex.
I wrote these notes. I worked so hard on the research. And then when I was ready to come here, I went on Facebook and I was scrolling through your pictures and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Did I not tell you I went?
No, you did not.
I'm the devil. I'm sorry. But I remember she bought me the tickets and I'm like, but which tickets? She's like, oh, just like a tour of the ship. So
I believe you.
To be fair, I didn't do any of the ghost stuff and I was relieved.
My heart sank though when I saw that you.
I'm sorry.
It was you and your brother who got to go when
we did not. Alexander did not go. He didn't want to go.
Good for him.
We're going to do a ghost tour there. You and I.
Pinky promise.
Yeah, pinky promise.
Okay. The Queen Mary, currently in Long Beach, correct?
Correct.
Okay. It was built in 1936, and it was originally hosted the most elite transatlantic crossings. It went from Europe to New York all the time, and it was for the wealthiest people. It was the luxury cruise of its time. It was bigger, faster, stronger than the Titanic by 1,000 square feet or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know if it said 1,000 feet. And I was like, is that square feet or length? I was like, I don't know what's going on.
It's just longer.
So for a bunch of famous people used to do it to travel everywhere, like Clark Gable, Winston Churchill, the Duke of Windsor, big people in the 30s.
Just the casual guys.
So it only was a luxury cruise for about 3 years. And then in 1939, World War II was going on. The Depression had been going on for 10 years, NBFD. And so it just didn't stay funded.
Oh, I thought that was another event that was going on. I was like,
oh yeah.
What's that?
NBFD was going on. No big fucking deal.
Oh, I'm so slow today. Okay.
So it became a warship during World War II, and it was called the Grey Ghost. Right. And it carried over 800,000 troops during World War II and traveled over 600,000 miles. And it was a participant in D-Day. It broke a record during the war for the most people on a single vessel, and there were almost 17,000 people on the ship at one time.
That's insane.
It also carried war families to and from America, Canada, and the UK.
Oh, shit.
During that time, it did 13 voyages where it was called the... I didn't write it down. It was called the Bride and Baby voyages. And it would it would travel all of the war brides and war babies to and from. And it did 13 voyages.
To and from war zones?
What the fuck? No. Why would you put a baby in a war zone?
I don't understand.
You would if their family needed to move to Europe, or if they were after the war, if they were coming to America.
Oh, after the war.
Or yes.
All right.
Okay.
I get it.
Just drink the wine.
I'm just
You'll
trying
get it
to
soon.
understand.
So 1947, it was refurbished and became the Queen Mary again. It was no longer a warship. And it went back to being a luxury cruise for about 13 years, but then, no, longer than 13 years, like around 15 years or so. But once the 1960s came, luxury cruises weren't really trendy anymore. Like, it wasn't the thing. Especially because now that airplanes are becoming, like, the
luxury.
Right. They're like the more common form of travel. There just was no need for the cruise anymore. And so it slowly stopped being used. And by 67, it took its last voyage to Long Beach. And that's where it became a museum and a hotel. And its travel to Long Beach was its 1001st? 1001st? I've never used that number ever in my life. But it had done exactly 1,000 crossings.
Wow.
And then when it came to Long Beach, it did its last one.
I think there was like a big bidding war on it too. Like different places were bidding to like.
And Long Beach beat them by, I think it was like, it ended up being 3.4. I'm doing this off the top of my head. But one of the notes I saw was it was like $3.4 million or something.
Wow.
So there's now regularly thousands of visitors that come every year because it's a museum and it's still a luxury hotel. And they do tours. And because it is one of the most haunted places, it also has a whole track for paranormal tours. So people will do investigations there. They do, I think, some sort of flashlight tour. And one thing I've participated in every year that I've lived in LA, during Halloween, it becomes like a huge, scary haunted house attraction. And it's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
No, I don't like that because they had the decorations still up, even though it was
daylight?
February.
Oh.
And they were like, don't mind the decorations. And there were like headless dolls and like people with horse heads eating dinner. And I was
no,
like,
I love it.
No,
my favorite time of year is we have another friend also named Christine. Hi, Christine.
hey, Christine number 1. I'm number 2.
So I texted her probably like, I guess now a year ago, but like starting in April last year, I texted her and I was like, save up your money now because I need at least $500 come Halloween to just
$500
just to spend it on every opportunity I can for like the haunted hay rides and the scary attractions.
No.
Well, like that stuff doesn't scare me because I'm expecting it. If I went into a house and something I wasn't expecting scared me, I would run away.
Literally, fuck that so hard. I went to this fucking corn maze in Ohio and there was this creature on stilts that was like chasing me, and I went to a porta potty and I locked it. And I told
followed you?
Yeah, and it was outside the porta potty, like banging on the door. And then I told all my friends, like, I texted them. I was like, you can go by yourselves on this thing. I'm staying out here. So
those things. I love those things because they legally cannot touch me. Like if like they have those like actually really scary fucked up haunted houses where like you pay people to like actually like it's basically like it's like they are allowed to touch you, basically. They're allowed to touch you, but like in really horrible ways. Like it's basically you.
Why would you do that?
You're signing up to be in
like assaulted.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. I mean, I'm not going to describe it, but if anyone wants to know what that is, just look up Blackout NYC.
You don't want to know.
Like Blackout New York. Or there's another one in LA called the McCamey Manor or something. It's really fucked up. Like they you sign away like your license, like your life, basically.
Like if you rip my hair out, it's fine.
Yeah.
What the?
No, like they beat the shit out of you, and like they like
simulate. What, they beat you up?
Yeah, like you leave bloody. Like it's like, and you can't get out. There's no safe word or anything. It's like you have to get out of the house.
How is this legal?
You sign a bunch of fucking waivers.
Yeah, but how?
Like you could not pay me enough.
So could I like technically pay you sign a waiver for you to stab me to death and it would be legal?
Like they won't stab you. It's like just hand-to-hand combat, but it's like it's to simulate a real horror story, so you can feel like you're in a real scary movie.
No,
it's like for adrenaline junkies who like think they can handle that shit, and it's really horrible. Like they like feed you rotten eggs and shit. It's really gross.
What?
Yeah, it's messed up, man.
Okay, I'm like okay. Well,
in the middle of the night when you're alone, just look it up.
No, I'm not going to do that.
But so on the Queen Mary, during Halloween, they have a tame, typical like amusement park version where like it's mazes you walk through and people jump out. Mm-hmm. But I know they can't scare me, so I don't I don't like. I know they can't touch me, so like, what's the worst you're gonna do? Go ooga booga? Like,
yeah, they scare the shit out of me and I cry.
that
One
doesn't
time
mean
I
anything
hit
to me.
somebody in the face and then they told me I wasn't allowed to do that. But don't scare me, I'm gonna hit you in the face.
well, you paid for them to scare you anyway.
Okay.
But you don't go in the ship. You go on the ship. Like it's all on the top floor. Which it's pretty fucking big if they're able to have a whole
It's huge, yeah.
attraction. Like I didn't even realize. Like this is stupid. But when I went the first time, I knew it was a ship. But I didn't actually know I was on a fucking ship the whole time. Like, I thought...
It doesn't feel like it when you're inside.
Like, I was on top of... I don't even remember going on stairs or anything. I had to have at some point, but I thought we were just, like, next to a ship or, like, by the pier. And it was just... Like, I had no idea I was on a ship until we got off. And I was like, I was on a ship this whole fucking time? What? Because, like, you don't go inside. You're just on the top. And it's pitch black, and you're surrounded by all these cool Halloween lights and everything. I never noticed water was around me.
I mean, the boat is honestly so massive that it doesn't feel like...
It was bigger than the Titanic.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, so there's 1,000 visitors a year because of all these different types of things that they host and things you can do. It is one of the most haunted places in the world, not just the country, and has 150 documented spirits.
Ooh.
In the last 60 years, 49 there's 49 reported deaths, but there have been other deaths, they just haven't been reported.
Well, they apparently, sorry.
No.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
During war times, the government never released the
How many people died?
number of deaths that occurred during wartime. So they estimate like many people died.
At least 150 for there to be that many spirits.
Right. And as soldiers, they had like prisoners of war in one room. Like,
well, so this ship also went through hell and back. So it went through war. Apparently during war, it accidentally crashed into one of its other ships, which is like something I would totally do if we were ships. I'd be like, oops.
They had a zigzag pattern that you're supposed to follow to like avoid being detected by enemy forces. Mm-hmm. And I guess they had like this zigzag pattern, and somehow like the coordinates got off. So the one ship was going one way and the other one was going the other way.
So they kissed.
And they accidentally crashed and they killed almost everybody on the other ship.
Yeah. And so they say a lot of the spirits are from that too.
They say there's like screaming and ooh.
NBFD, you know.
That event that happened in the 1930s.
Right, yeah. Okay, so that's basically all the history I have. I just want to tell you about the ghosts, really.
Ooh, yeah, I want to hear about that.
I
don't know much about that.
I dropped my thing. I dropped my paper.
Oh, also they said like during war when it was the gray ghost, like you mentioned, they painted all the windows in, like I mean, it doesn't really mean much, but they painted all the windows gray and like blacked out the whole ship, which I just thought was like a creepy
Yeah, it's very ominous.
Yeah, they
especially for something that was so luxurious.
Right, like it was, and then they painted everything gray and they tried to make it look like camouflaged in the sea. I don't know. That was just something that creeped me out.
Yuck. So all of these seem to be really good. Like usually I try to like build up to a good story. I don't have one of those this time. It's just all good.
Oh, I thought you meant you don't have a good story. I was like, I think it's great.
And the end.
I support you. You're doing a great job.
Okay, so one of the most common ones, which I'm sure you heard of while you were there, is during the war, there was an 18-year-old that died in an engine room. Did you hear about this?
Nope.
His name is John Pedder, like Pedder.
Okay.
John Pedder. But they call him Half-Hatch Harry. Like, can you imagine if you died and someone just has name and give you your own fucking name?
Listen, remember we talked about last episode, like, these old-timey people have the most fucking crazy-ass names.
But, like, at least give him something that has to do with his name, John. Like, that's like you,
Harry.
Christine, dying and me being like, oh, there goes Peggy Sue. Like, it's like, come on.
Half-legged Peggy. What's his name? Half-assed Harry? What?
Half-Hatch Perry.
Let's go.
Oh, wait, Half-Hatch Harry.
What's that mean?
Well, apparently the hatch of the door crushed him. Yeah.
Sad. Oh, so they named him because of his... That's so
like
sad.
if you got shot and they're like, oh, bullseye Peggy.
Wait, no.
Like,
okay. A guy my stepdad worked with, they called him... It's so awful.
I'm already scared.
He shot himself in the head. He
don't
committed suicide. This is why I'm glad my stepdad doesn't listen to this podcast. And
now I can't, like, obviously.
And they call him like hole in the head Steve. And they think it's so funny. And I'm like,
he died, right?
Yeah, he killed himself. and shot himself in the head
So
and died.
at least he's not around to know that
And
they
they're
called
like,
him that.
no, it's like fun. Like he was our friend. And
Well,
I'm like, I guess.
that's like on... This is going to sound like a weird segue, but this is like on Full House. When, well, no.
That's never a weird segue.
No, so Bob Saget and Dave... Is it Coulier? Is that how you say it? Dave Coulier, Joey?
I think so.
So I guess Bob Saget's mom had already passed away before the show. And then when they were on the show, Dave Coulier's mom also passed away.
Yeah.
And so the way that they coped with it is they called themselves the Dead Moms Club.
Aww.
Which is like really fucked up, but like it was their kind of like dark way of dealing with it. So maybe
That's like, what's his name on SNL who jokes about his dad dying in 9/11 and people are like all upset about it, but they can't be upset about it because he's like, it's my dad.
I've heard him joke about that stuff and I'm like, oh.
It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I'm alone in my, like, it's not like I'm afraid of what other people are thinking next to me. But like,
there's something about it that's so,
I can feel the whole world uncomfortable.
But that's how he says he like deals with it, so all
right.
I can't experience it, so you do you.
Fuck. Well, okay. So anyway, let's...
Now that we've transitioned to 9/11, let's get back to the story.
Wow, you're really making my story so much darker. So the engine room, that's where there's regularly a lot of activity, but in this particular story, door 13 is known to be a haunted area because at least 3 men have been crushed all by the same door.
What the fuck?
There were 2 before Half-Hatch Harry, and then in 1966 he died, and he was like an 18-year-old. Like he was brand new to the ship.
That's so sad.
But a lot of people say that they can see him in the clothes he died in. They see him walking around in the ship, and then if you ever follow him, he's always walking towards door 13. And if you get to door 13 before him, he's disappeared. Like he always disappears before he hits the door.
That makes me really sad.
He's walking to his death. That's really fucked up.
18.
Yeah.
And he just keeps reliving the whole like.
Yep.
Ugh, that's dark.
So the next one is apparently this, like, how elite is this bullshit? This ship had first, second, and third class pools.
Pools? I thought you meant like levels, but pools.
No,
wow.
like I don't know how they divvied it up. Like, was it by race? Was it by how much money you made? Was it by age?
I think it was the ticket you bought because I remember them saying
that's so much less racist than I was expecting.
Yeah,
okay.
let's keep away.
I was thinking like, oh god, this is segregated.
No, I think like if you bought like a first class
like a VIP
ticket,
or
if you were like Winston Churchill, you could go to the first class pool.
NBD. Okay.
NBFD.
So in the first and second class pools, neither of them are used now. They've been closed for over 30 years. At both of the pools, you can see women in 30s style swimwear walking around. You can also see, you can hear like wet feet walking around the pool, like they got out, or you can hear splashing in the water. And they said it's not every night, but regularly, the maintenance people will go in there at night, and you can see footprints leaving the water and going into the changing room.
Ew!
And apparently, the changing room is a big hot zone for like. It's like a hotbed for activity. They say, I saw on one website, I don't know if this is the case, but they said it's because a woman was raped in there. So it's like already like a lot of negative activity.
They did not say that on the tour. I don't think they were allowed to because there was a 10-year-old. But
well, they said that
they did say like
they said there was that, and then they said there was a bunch of other cases of assault because back then in the 30s, like who was protecting women, especially if they were in swimwear,
bathing suits,
which 1930s swimwear was probably a fucking tarp, and that was still too much for the men.
Yeah.
So,
their shoulders were showing, so men couldn't help themselves.
And so a bunch of negative stuff happened in the women's changing room. So apparently that's a big area.
Well, because we heard that like the changing rooms were like a big, but he didn't tell us why, and that's probably why.
Also near that pool, and also throughout the hotel, there's a little girl that's always carrying a teddy bear.
Oh.
And they don't know if she's like always near the pool because she's trying to find her mom or if she's upstairs.
Stop.
I know. It's
That's
really
so sad.
There was a nursery in this for, I guess, passengers who had kids. They could like bring their kid there for the day. She's also regularly found in there, and they don't know if she's also trying to find her friends or it's really fucked up.
That's really sad.
Another little girl who they've named Jackie can also be seen in the pool, who I guess in the 30s they were actually kind of cool. They had slides that went down to the pool.
Fun.
Until a giant wave came crashing on the ship, and she cracked her neck on the slide as she was going into the pool and drowned.
Oh, right, because they said if you were going over a wave and then you tried to jump off the diving board or something, you could, like, get moved away from where...
Right. And so she
Holy shit.
was on the slide, and then as she took off, a giant wave hit the
No.
ship, and so she like smacked her head into it. And either she broke her. Most of the sites I saw said that she broke her neck,
Poor
but she could have
baby.
also just gone unconscious and then fell in the water and never came up. So
What the fuck? That's so sad.
so you can also see little kid feet prints.
No.
And you can hear like giggling at night and like water splashing. There's also what's now considered the lounge. It used to be, or no, it was once a lounge and it's now the salon.
Okay.
There's a young woman in a white evening gown who's been seen dancing around as if she's still at the lounge. Ooh. And one thing I also want to say about the pools is that, before I forget, they're so haunted, like they can see footsteps and hear splashing so often that they have a constant camera stream running on it so that security can see if there's anything going on.
Oh my God.
So you can see the woman dancing in the salon. Also, the boiler rooms, the infirmary, and other lounges are all hotbeds.
Creepy.
Another cool story is at the restaurant in the hotel, waitresses and hostesses have all said that they'll see like a giant family coming in, like to sit. Like some of the people are real. Like let's say you and I went to the restaurant together.
Right.
They would see like 4 or 5 people instead of just the 2 of us. And so when they look up and say like, oh, is that a party of 5 or something? They'll look down and like for the reservations, they'll see that no one's booked a party of 5 and then look back up and it's just the 2 of us.
Oh my God.
So like people will just follow people around
Ew.
into the restaurants.
That's so creepy.
I know, it's like, okay.
Trying to tag on our reservation.
I know.
Make your own damn reservation.
I know, but it's always different people too, which is why they think there has to be multiple spirits, because it's not just the same like,
Right.
2 or 3 people that are following everyone, or else you'd recognize them eventually.
Wow, how weird.
Another thing. Wow, I have so many ghost things to tell you.
Yay!
I just turned I thought this was the last page, and then there's a whole other page.
I'm already out of wine. Hang on.
Wow, you are.
This is like this is what I live for. God, my poor parents.
So in the first class staterooms, there's regularly a tall brunette man in a 30s suit, and he walks around, and you can see him go into your bathroom, and then you'll look in the bathroom again and he's not there, but then the water faucets will turn on by themselves.
Oh.
Or the lights will go on and off by themselves, or phones will ring that are disconnected. And I guess another part of the nursery, babies cry. There were a couple babies that died on the ship.
Oh.
And doors knock. There's like knocks. I said knocks, door slams, squeals, temperature fluctuations, and smells. I just like wrote it all out. But then I found this really cool site, because my thing with this is I like to go on like not Yelp, but like road trip sites so people can give like their personal stories. So
Right.
I just wrote a list of shit that people have said they saw.
Oh, fun.
So doorknobs were hot to touch, or from far away they'd look like they were glowing. And then the doorknobs that were glowing or smoking or felt really hot, later they found out that those were rooms that people had died in. Someone felt really, really hot, like they were on fire, and then they smelt like burning hair. And I guess they were next to an old kitchen, and when it was originally a warship, this is how like Lord of the Flies this shit was back then. During World War II, the soldiers got pissed at the cook for not making food that they liked, and so they shoved him in the oven and he burned alive. Yeah. And so,
What the?
I know, like,
But see, the crazy thing is that's a fact. Like, they told us that too, and it just still blows my mind. But, like, that's not like a fictional, like, that actually happened.
like
they
how
literally murdered
how
the chef.
hungry and how much must you hate someone for multiple people to agree we're going to shove them in an oven
Like,
and watch them burn?
it's so fucked up.
That's ridiculous. And so that guy felt like he was on fire and smelled burning hair.
God.
So where the ship crashed into another one of its
Right.
ships during war. So where the point that I don't know how to say it.
Collision?
Yeah, like where the point where it crashed, where it got crashed into. If you ever stand there in the middle of the night, you can hear the screams.
Yeah.
And they said sometimes if you're alone, you can also hear like metal tearing as if like the ship's falling apart. And that's mainly it for that section. But I mean, like that's like
Well, and that
really
section
cool.
was where they kept the prisoners of war, and they were packed in.
fuck.
They were like packed in super tight and they said the temperature got up to like 118 degrees in there, and so people were dying anyway. Like, and they weren't
That's
like
horrible.
feeding them well or so people were dying in there anyway. And then that's where it crashed. So almost everyone in that section died. So it's like a double.
So it was just like a whole bunch.
So they
of
were already
people.
miserable,
Just
and
piles
then-
of people screaming for their lives.
Exactly.
You know what I read recently? And by recently I mean today. There was
Was recently.
pretty current. There was a girl that survived the Titanic who didn't know what was going on. Like she got on the lifeboat, and then when they like got them to land, she thought that was part of the fucking trip.
How old was she? Like 1?
No, I guess she said. I think it said she was like 16 or something.
What?
But I was like how fucking privileged were you that they just like hid you in like a beautiful area until it was time for you to get on your rescue boat?
They were like, here's the rescue boat and your glass of champagne. We're just going to float to the shore.
Like, didn't you notice the people screaming and crying all around you that were like begging for the people they love to not die? Like, but apparently she was just like, just totally daydreaming the whole time. And she's like, what? What do you mean this isn't it?
What?
She like totally thought that was like part of the journey.
How?
I don't know.
How
People
sad.
look it up. I'm not kidding. There's a girl. Her name was Catherine. Catherine with a K. So, the last page I have for you is just. I literally just wrote bullets of all the shit that people said that they'd seen.
Ooh, fun.
And I should find the link because they really deserve for us to post this. But they wrote every room and what happens in every room. So like of all the rooms, like every bullet I have is from a different room. I just didn't write the rooms down because who cares about the numbers, you know?
We'll look it up before we go together.
Okay, so in one room, people's blankets have been getting pulled off of them while they're sleeping. In another one, figures and people will vanish right in front of them. Like, will just show up and leave. Guests will be held down in their bed and can't move.
That's...
I don't want that.
Nope.
Drawers will open and close, or people will wake up and all the drawers in the whole room will be open. So, like, drawers, like, in the dresser and their nightstand, like, everything will be open on its own. They've heard scratching in the closet.
Ew.
They've heard... or they've seen shadows walking across the room from, like, the door to the TV and then just, like, dissipate away. Chairs have moved across the floor, or your luggage has moved right in front of you. Okay, so this freaked me out because I forgot that I was talking... No, not in that way. It's just, like, I was being an idiot, and I forgot that I was, like, writing notes about a ship. And so the portholes of the ship would open and close on their own, which is creepy. But my like dumbass brain read portals, and I was like, "Whoa, portals! Whoa!"
No one told me there were portals.
So
But the portholes, like they had us. The guy, our tour guide, was like, "Try and close this," and they're fucking heavy. Like you have to take 2 hands and like force it closed. And he's like, people just report them like swinging open, and slamming, and you cannot like. It's a ship that's docked. Like it doesn't. There's no wind.
Right.
Like it doesn't. But you have to like forcibly shut it closed. Like it takes 2 hands. So people do report that, and it's like really weird. Anyway,
there's also a lot of cold spots, and there's people have reported being grabbed and shaken while they're sleeping.
That's even worse.
Can you imagine being shaken and like waking up to nothing shaking you?
Fuck that.
So hangers and or clothes sound like they're being shuffled around in the closet, and then people will open the closet and be like, what was that sound? And there are no clothes or hangers. It's an empty fucking closet, but they could hear things moving in there. A woman was crying and people have approached her and been like, what's wrong? And she just disappeared in front of them. Guests, if you thought getting shaken awake was bad enough, guests would wake up levitating.
No.
Yeah.
It's like my fucking nightmare.
At what point do you drop? Like, you're definitely awake. So, like, do you just, like, once the ghost realizes you're awake, do they just drop you and, like, you fucking plummet? Or does it, like, let you down, like, oh, I didn't mean to wake you.
Oops.
Like, oops.
Slow descent.
Or do you just stay there floating and go, ah!
I don't know. I don't want to find out. Fuck.
The creepiest thing I could ever fucking create in my mind is the bullet that says, in one room you can hear flute playing in the middle of the night right next to your bed.
So someone's just like serenading you.
Like Peter Pan just shows up. No, was he the piccolo? Whatever. It's all creepy.
He was one of those. He was with Winston Churchill, one of the elite members of the.
They're buds.
The guest list.
Another man in 30s clothes will sit on your bed and watch you sleep.
No,
I was like, abso-fucking-lutely
no.
People will feel being touched, like they'll feel like either a cold or a warm handprint on them, and then as soon as the feeling goes away, the TV will turn on by itself.
What? Why the TV?
Like just something will turn on, like the TV will turn on, or the faucets will go off, or the lights will turn on. And it's like you could feel pressure, like a hand is on you, and then as soon as it goes away, things will turn on by themselves to let you know you weren't imagining that. And then one of the creepiest things I've ever heard in my entire life, the bathroom doors will close on their own. Like if it's open, and you're sitting on your bed and you look at the bathroom, the door will slam close on its own, and then you'll hear a knock on the other side. I know.
Ugh.
The last two I have, someone actually did an investigation in room B492. And their notes were that they saw a lot of orbs and got a lot of pictures of orbs around them. And they also had personal encounters by feeling like they were being watched or felt like someone was standing next to them. And then they heard footsteps in the room walking. Like every time they tried to follow it, the footsteps would be on the other side of the room. And when they went to bed, they heard the footsteps again and like pretended they were asleep. And they heard the footsteps walking closer and closer to their bed.
Nope.
And then heard and felt the bed get kicked to be like, hey, I'm right fucking here. Like you were trying to find me and now I'm going to wake you up.
How do you even go to sleep in a room like that?
Oh, you don't.
No.
They felt being stared at. Lights went on and off throughout the night. That's the creepiest thing though. Like hearing shuffling, getting closer and closer, and then a kick to the bed when it was originally like hiding and like playing games, and now it like wants your attention.
It's like, oh, you're going to bed? Well,
it's like,
I'm back.
or it's just I'm gonna. And also, if you feel like something's staring at you, normally it's like ominous. So if it's kicking your bed and then you feel like that glare, it's like, hey, I'm here now. Like that's what freaks me out. The last thing I want to say, this is the experience that I would not want.
Okay, you've said that for every bullet point.
I know, but okay.
And they get worse and worse. So I don't know.
Okay, but this is the last one.
Okay.
This is the last one.
I don't know what's going to happen.
But it's currently my favorite one just because it just sounds interesting. So in stateroom A128, people would hear tapping on like the table or on the walls or on the doors. At one point, a little girl, literally just popped up out of nowhere. Just like, I don't know if she like just showed up out of a closet or jumped off of a bed or just like showed up in your face. But she just went, hiya, and then disappeared. Just like, hiya.
That's us as a ghost.
But the exact writing on this site that I saw the review from, it's spelled Hiya, like hiya.
Hiya.
Like really just,
That's
hey.
fucking adorable.
I know, it's kind of like that's the one ghost.
Like,
I don't want to say that out loud. But like,
oh, don't
like,
say it.
That's a very like Casper ghost.
Yeah, I want to be that
Like,
ghost.
hello. Disappeared. Then that night, the bed was shaking, the curtains shook, the radio kept turning on and off by itself. And then the creepiest thing of it, which I feel like it couldn't have been the same Casper-friendly ghost, is that the guy sleeping there woke up because he thought he was snoring, but he heard something else mocking his snoring. Like he heard, and then when he woke up, or like whatever, it realized he was awake, started laughing like, oh, you caught me.
No.
Like
it could be a kid being like, haha, but also...
Or it could be like, I have fucking... Like,
I know.
Like the hair on my arms is wicked high right now. But so, like basically there was a ghost that went like with it. And then when he woke up, went like, ha ha ha, you got me.
Oh,
and
no.
okay, I've had an experience like that. And that freaked me the fuck out. And I need my parents to look away really quickly because I'm about to, it's not like I just don't like my parents knowing that I've like, had a girlfriend.
Emily.
I know. In my 24 years, I've had one whole one. So, but okay, so as soon as I told my mother not to listen, her ears are as
She's like
big as
turning up
cars right
the
now.
volume.
So one time I was at her house, and her house was renowned for having this like little girl ghost. Like you could hear this girl giggle in the middle of the night. We heard her running up and down the halls in the middle of the night. It was the scariest bullshit I've ever heard in my life.
Was that in Virginia?
Yeah.
Okay.
And but they always just never really did anything about it because it was always playful. It never hurt them. It would steal a lot of their shit. Like one time, my girlfriend lost her earrings and looked all around the house, and then later that day found them in her driveway, like perfectly placed right next to each other. Like it was just the creepiest thing. But one time we were about to do what people in relationships do when they love each other. And so nothing had happened, but we were just kissing, just kissing. And from in the room, I swear on everything, in the room, I heard like a little 5-year-old like mocking us, like making kissing sounds, but it was like an amplified, like wanted us to hear it. It wasn't like, oh, what was that? It was full blown like,
what the fuck, Em?
I'm not kidding. And then literally we stopped, and I was like, I'm sorry. I don't even want to look at you right now. Like I don't want anything to happen. And so we kind of we both heard it. We both were freaked the fuck out. And I was like, well, it's obviously that little girl. I mean,
yeah,
we'd been together for years at that point. So like we were both aware of this thing.
What the fuck?
And eventually we just like watched TV and laughed and joked around and kind of just forgot about it. And so we were, kissed again, and the same thing happened. It happened a second time. Yeah, and it was literally like that loud pecking, kissing sound.
I do not like that.
And I was like, no, all right, we're done.
I do not like that.
It was these like, and it was scary because it wasn't scary. I never felt scared. Like you could tell it was just like
joking.
It was like having like a little annoying sister in the room making fun of you and your boyfriend or something like that. Like it truly did not feel threatening, but the thing that scared me was that it was definitely real. Like we could not explain it. There was
what the fuck?
There was no explaining it, no denying it. Till my deathbed, I can still hear it when I think about it.
Yikes!
I need to emphasize that it wasn't just like a weird like background sound. It was full like. It sounded like it was coming from one side of the room, but right in my ear. Like, wanted us to hear it.
That gives me the chills. I don't like it.
Anyway, the end. That's the Queen Mary and my horrible life.
And ghosts do not want you to have a happy relationship.
Anyway, I'm going to stop now and drink my milkshake while you tell me a great story.
You deserve a drink, honestly. That's why you drink, and I support it. Okay.
I'm ready when you are.
This is about the disappearance of Maura Murray.
I don't know who that is.
Great. Okay. Makes it more fun.
Yeah. Maura Murray?
Wrong.
What?
Maura Murray.
Maura Murray. Okay.
Maura Murray.
Maura Murray.
I'm going to call her Maura.
Okay. That's probably good since it's her name.
Yeah, but people call her Murray on like articles.
Oh, like the last name.
Yeah, but I should I want to call her
well, we're buds.
Maura. Because
okay.
I feel like that's more... Anyway.
Maura.
So Maura was a 21-year-old nursing student at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst, who vanished on February 9, 2004, and has been missing ever since.
Oh, wow.
I know.
What was the school again?
University of Massachusetts, Amherst.
Aww.
She was a nursing student.
UMass?
Neither of us went there.
Yeah, but I always saw shirts with it on them when we lived in Boston.
That counts.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you like just a timeline of what happened because it's a bizarre missing persons case and nobody has been able to solve it. And some really weird things happened before she disappeared. So 3 months before her disappearance, Maura admitted to using a stolen credit card to order food. And the charges were to be dropped after 3 months of good behavior. So it wasn't like a huge deal, but there was like a weird little bit of criminal behavior she was engaging in. On February 5th, Maura spoke with her older sister Kathleen while on duty at her campus security job. They discussed Kathleen's relationship problems with her fiancé. And at around 10:30 p.m., her supervisor reported coming in and seeing her break down in tears and then spend a long time staring straight ahead into empty space, not having any reaction to anything anybody said.
Just distant.
Totally distant, being completely out of it with a nursing book laying open in front of her. So the supervisor escorted her back to her dorm around 1:20 a.m. She asked what was wrong, and Maura just said, "My sister," but she wouldn't say anything more.
Wait, Maura said this?
Yes, Maura said, "My sister," and that
she was like totally just like disoriented,
zoned
not paying
out.
attention, and then she still says something's wrong with my sister.
She just said, "My sister."
Okay.
On Saturday, February 7th, which was 2 days later, Maura's dad, Fred, visited town to see her. And he's from Connecticut, so it wasn't, a super far trip. The two went car shopping just to look around and buy a car, and then went to dinner. Maura dropped her dad off at his motel, and he let her borrow his car to drive to a dorm party back on campus. So she
Good
left
dad.
I know. I'm like, I was thinking about that. I'm like, my dad would literally never give me a car to drive to a party on campus. But, she left the party at 2:30 a.m., and on her way home, she hit a guardrail and caused nearly $10,000 in damage to her dad's car. Which is exactly why my dad would never let me borrow a car.
That's the exact reason.
To go to a party. As far as like the records go, there's no report of a sobriety test being conducted by police at that point. But she did stay at they drove her to her father's motel. She stayed there for the night. And at 4:49 a.m., there was a cell phone call placed from Fred, her dad's cell phone, to Maura's boyfriend.
Okay.
But they don't know who called or what the context of the phone call was. But so it was 4:49 a.m. The next day, Fred found out the car would be covered by insurance. He rented a car, went back to Connecticut, called his daughter that night to remind her to get the forms from the DMV to fill out.
And he still hasn't heard from her.
No, they were together.
Oh.
So she stayed there that night. And
right. God, I was thinking about the boyfriend, the phone call to the boyfriend.
Oh, no. Yeah. So the dad left and was like, okay, remember to get those forms from the DMV.
Right.
And then they decided to talk Monday to go over the forms. And she's like, great, I'll call you Monday and I'll pick up the forms. So that night, after her dad left, Maura used her personal computer around midnight to search MapQuest directions to the Berkshires, which is like a mountain range from Vermont, but it extends into Connecticut and Massachusetts. And to search for MapQuest directions to Burlington, Vermont. At 1 p.m. the next day, so on Monday, Maura emailed her boyfriend, I got your messages, but honestly, I didn't feel like talking to much of...
What is he growling about? Wow.
Gio, quiet.
This is Christine parenting.
Motherfucker. This is why I drink. Okay. At 1 p.m. the next day, so that was on Monday, Maura emailed her boyfriend, I got your messages, but honestly, I didn't feel like talking to much of anyone. I promised to call today, though. She called a condominium complex that her family had actually stayed at in the past. The call was only 3 minutes, and the owner of the condo said he didn't rent her a condo. She just called to ask about renting one.
Okay, like prices or something?
Yeah, so she called for information. At 1:24 p.m., so 24 minutes later, Maura emailed a supervisor at work that she would be out of town for a week due to a death in her family, but no one in her family had died.
Ooh.
Yeah, so she said she'd contact them when she returned to campus. Her family still doesn't know what that excuse was about because nobody had died. At 2:05 p.m., so half an hour later, she called a number that provides recorded information about hotels in Stowe, Vermont. And 15 minutes later, at 2:18, she left her boyfriend a voicemail message, promising she'd call him later.
Again. Okay.
The first one was an email, and then she called him and was like, okay, I'll call later.
Okay.
So she packed up her car with clothing, toiletries, college textbooks, and birth control pills.
Everything one would need.
All the important stuff.
Right.
After her disappearance, campus police discovered that her dorm room was mostly packed up in boxes. She left an email out that was printed to her boyfriend, and it indicated trouble in their relationship. It was kind of a clue. And she left campus around 3:30 p.m. At 3:40, she withdrew $280 from an ATM. Then she purchased about $40 worth of alcoholic beverages from a liquor store.
Okay, Christine.
Guess what she bought?
Boxed wine.
Bailey's Irish Cream, Kahlua vodka, and a box of Franzia wine.
So, a party for us.
Remember how guilty I felt for making fun of Franzia? This is why.
Oh, okay.
So basically everything like a freshman college student
Right, yeah.
wants in their life. She even stopped and picked up the accident report forms that her dad wanted her to get from the DMV. So she did go get those. And then she left Amherst, Mass. Around 7 p.m., a resident of Woodsville, New Hampshire, heard a loud thump outside of her house, saw a car against the snowbank, called the sheriff's department. Another neighbor, who was a school bus driver, pulled up and noticed she was outside of the car, noticed the accident, saw she was freezing cold, said he was going to call the police. Apparently, according to police reports, she pleaded that he not call the police and said she had already called AAA. And he knew how terrible cell service was out there. So he was like, I don't. So he went home and he called the police because he was like, I'm worried about her. The bus driver went home so the police arrived around 7:45 p.m. There was no one inside the car, no one outside the car. The car had been totaled, but it was locked. Inside and outside the car, the officer found what looked like red wine stains.
Mm-hmm. Or blood.
No, it was red wine stains.
It was definitely Franzia.
It was Strawberry Fields Franzia.
Perfect.
He found an empty beer bottle and a damaged box of Franzia in the back seat. There were no footsteps in
So maybe drinking and driving?
That's
the thought.
Yeah, the thought. There were no footsteps in the snow and no signs of other vehicles. Maura was completely gone, but this is what she left behind in the car.
Okay.
The officer found empty beer bottle, damaged box of Franzia, a AAA card on the front seat, blank accident report forms, which were the ones she picked up from the DMV, gloves, compact discs, makeup, diamond jewelry, 2 sets of MapQuest driving directions, Murray's favorite stuffed animal, and a book about mountain climbing in the White Mountains.
Okay.
But missing were her debit cards, credit cards, and cell phone, as well as a couple of bottles of liquor that she had purchased earlier that day with her credit card. But none of the debit cards, credit cards, or cell phone were ever used again since her disappearance. So,
oh, shit.
Yeah, they just went off the map. A rag that was believed to have been part of her emergency roadside kit was discovered stuffed into the muffler pipe of her car. And there's that was one of the big things that people can't figure out. Some people think a suicide attempt, like she was trying to keep the gas in the car. Some people think it's actually a way to stall a car if you stuff the muffler. It supposedly stalls the car so it stops driving. Okay. So some people think it was like somebody else had tried to stall the car. And then her father later said he told her to put it there to stop the tailpipe from leaking. But people have questioned that because he knew a thing or two about cars, and that's not a thing you would tell someone, to stuff a rag in a tailpipe. Right. So it's kind of one of those weird things nobody knows what...
How did they find that information out that he said that to her?
Oh, he told police, like, oh, no, I told her to put that there to,
That's just incriminating. That's
it's
just...
strange.
That's
It's strange, and nobody knows. Part of it is that, like, he was really opposed to the idea that she might have, like, been trying to run away or commit suicide. So some people think
he's, like,
maybe
in denial
he was...
and...
Yeah, some people think maybe he was saying, oh, no, like, I told her it was a good idea. She only did it on purpose because I told her.
So my thought is that she was trying to, before this car crash part, it sounded like she was trying to run away from her boyfriend or something and move to that condo without being noticed, right?
That's, I think, the biggest...
Because why go through all that trouble of contacting them and packing everything up and getting, bringing whatever you need just to crash a car?
Well, and the big thing, too, that I've, thought about, and I've read a bunch of different theories, if you were going to commit suicide, like some people think, why would you bring your nursing textbooks? Yeah. She brought all her textbooks. She
usually
brought the DMV paperwork that she had promised her dad she'd fill out. Like, you don't go to the DMV and pick up that paperwork.
I feel like her picking up the paperwork was at least just to, I don't know, just have one less thing off of his list if she was trying to disappear or something.
But she was supposed to fill it out. He asked her to fill it out for him. Because she crashed the car. So It's one of those things where people are like, she wouldn't have gone through the trouble of going to the DM. Like, literally, if you're going to kill yourself, you don't go to the DMV to, like, fill out
Right.
paperwork. Sorry. I mean, and people say, like, also, as a student, you don't bring, like, several textbooks with you to...
Right.
But, again, like, it looks like she was drinking while she was driving, so who knows?
I feel like maybe she was on her way to that condo she was trying to run away to and got in a car crash on the way.
That's one of the theories, is that, like, she got into an accident. She said, don't call the police, because she had been drinking. And she had been in trouble for that credit card theft.
Right.
So maybe she panicked. She was 21 years old. So maybe she panicked and thought...
That's like, where could she have gone without using her phone or cards again?
The thought is that somebody picks her up on the side of the road and said, oh, I'll give you a ride.
And then killed her.
Either killed her or abducted her. Her father claims to this day that he believes it was an abduction. And he's still upset that the police treated it as a missing persons as opposed to, like, a criminal investigation.
Right.
But the thought is mostly that something bad happened to her after that accident.
Right.
Here, during his flight, her boyfriend had turned off his cell phone. He was flying to New Hampshire to, like, be with the family.
Okay.
And at some point during the flight, when he got to where he was going, he turned on his phone and had a voicemail that he believed was the sound of Maura sobbing. And the cell phone call was traced to a calling card issued to the American Red Cross.
What?
I don't know. Maybe, I mean, she was a nursing student. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but that was the only place they traced that call. So they searched far and wide. They extended the search to Vermont. They used thermal imaging cameras. They used helicopters. Like, they used dogs, cadaver dogs, tracking dogs. One of the dogs, or like a group of tracking dogs, smelled her gloves and then went 100 yards and lost the scent, which is what led police to believe that she got in a car and drove away, because, like, her scent didn't seem to be anywhere around the car. And her footprints only went 100 feet away from the car and then were gone. So nobody knows if, like, she was abducted or if she got into a car or if she was purposefully planning to run away.
Right, like had another car waiting for her. Or
like a tandem driver, exactly. So it's, like, really unclear. There were also 2 girls that were abducted around the same time that a lot of people speculate were similar cases, but the police still say, like, there's no way we can link these. One girl was murdered in Vermont. I think her car was found, like, nearby a month later, and she was murdered. So people are unclear whether any of these are related.
What year was this? 2004?
2004. And in 2014, that was the 10th anniversary of her disappearance. And the Attorney General, or Senior Assistant Attorney General, said that they haven't had any clues as to what was going on. They have no idea. They really don't know. There's still websites up offering a reward. I think in 2017, if nobody is able to figure it out, the $20,000, I'm pretty sure, is set to go to like a missing persons, charity or group, if nobody can figure it out. But because it expires this year.
Was the box wine there in the car?
Yes, but it had been tampered with, so I guess that means.
Well, that's the drunk.
And then they found the wine stains. So it's hard to understand because, again, she was 21 years old, so it's not. You have to imagine being a 21-year-old and being. Like,
I would be scared shitless.
Things are blowing up in your face, and it's like, how do you deal? I mean, if the police are coming and you've been drinking,
right?
It's It's the most terrifying thought in the world. Ugh. And if somebody comes by and says, "Oh, I'll bring you to wherever you're going." Mm-hmm. One of the best theories I read was on Reddit. There's a whole Reddit thread about, or a whole subreddit about, like, find Maura Murray.
Really?
Yeah. And people are just trying to figure out any clues they can. And one of the most interesting things I read was from a woman who's in her 30s now, but she was like, I was the same age.
Right.
And looking back, like, I had issues with, like, sexual assault, or, like, I had an experience and I was trying to deal with it, and, like, family problems and whatever, and I became, like, an alcoholic, and if I had crashed my car knowing I was drinking and someone came up and said, oh, like, don't worry, I'll give you a ride.
Yeah, I would do it too.
Like, I would jump in the car in a second, you know? Like,
I mean, if I were drunk and that scared.
in that scenario.
Maybe.
And I mean, again, she was in New Hampshire. It was freezing cold out. Some people were like, well, maybe she wandered off and died in the elements. But they did every sort of search. They searched many, many times in like the surrounding area. Everything from dogs to thermal imaging to helicopters. They couldn't find anything. So like the biggest thing points to that she got in someone's car. But again, it's been 13 years now. So
that's an abduction.
I still don't know. And I mean, it's hard to believe like, oh, they haven't figured out with a reward and everything. Like nobody's been able to offer a clue. But
well, to me, that means that she wanted to not. If she wasn't abducted and killed, then and this was like a successful runaway, which there's not many of them. Like she clearly doesn't want to be found. Then, so either she definitely doesn't want to be found, or definitely wants to be found.
The weird thing, right? It's either one or the other.
That reminds me. There's that John Mulaney joke of like.
I love him.
One time I was walking down New York and I saw a wheelchair with no one in it, and he was like, I don't know what happened there. You hope it was a miracle. But something happened.
Yeah, that was the way they got out of the wheelchair. Exactly. So it's like hard to know. I mean, her dad still claims he thinks it was an abduction. He's still, the FBI got involved and nobody knows. But there's just so many weird facets to it.
Yeah.
Including like the weird phone calls and like her sister's fiance problems. And so it's hard to tell whether she just had like a breakdown and then got abducted like by chance or whether she planned it. But if she had planned it, it's really hard to believe that after this many years because she was really close with her family. And
also she was still nice enough to like go like get the paperwork from her dad. Like if she really disrespected her dad and didn't want him to find her.
Right. Well, and I mean, she even had her textbooks, which meant she was like,
this was an abduction. This was for sure an abduction.
Like, why would you run away and be like, oh, I'm going to bring all my textbooks?
So I stay savvy.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
Like, so anyway, it's just one of those weird unsolved mysteries. Somebody on Twitter had actually, I feel like an ass because I didn't write down who it was and I don't remember because it's lost in the Twitter sphere. Whoever suggested Maura Murray, thank you. I appreciate your suggestion, and obviously we used it. But again, if you have a suggestion and you want to be credited, please send it to our email because I probably won't find it in our Twitter nightmare of a mess. So anyway.
God, that was just so down. Like that was such a bummer.
It's hard because it's like, is she alive? Is she dead?
She's dead.
I think
like
that
she's
makes
so
the
dead.
Most sense.
I mean, if it's been several years.
It seemed like she was planning to come back and she just didn't.
Yeah.
But like how has nothing turned up about where she like
I hate abduction stories.
Anyway, so
why did you do this again?
I don't know, Em. I feel like I know it's gonna bug you, so I'm like, haha. That's not true.
Ugh.
I just want you to feel good.
Thank you so much.
That's why we drink.
I don't even know what to say with that.
Don't get in a stranger's car. Stranger danger.
I hope not to.
I don't care how fucking charming he is.
Well,
or
thank
she.
God I'm gay. Okay, yeah, there it is.
Or she, literally.
Well, I might get into a car with her.
No, don't do it.
If Jennifer Aniston asks me to get in a car, I'm diving in.
If Jennifer Aniston is a murderer, we have a really great episode. So that's fine. I approve.
There was a story in my hometown of 2 girls getting abducted, which is really, really sad. And it's a small town, so if you didn't know them, you at least knew someone who knew them.
Holy shit.
But that was the reason why when I was little, I wasn't allowed to hang out in my neighborhood anymore. Because it was like as soon as we moved there, this happened. And there was like they were 2 sisters, and they both got in the car. Or someone pulled them into the car or something like that. Like under 10, I think. Either under 10 or around 10. But my mom still remembers that, and she's like, that's the reason you never played outside as a kid. Because when we moved to that town, it happened. And everyone knew about it, and everyone was keeping their kids inside.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Yeah. I was too little to remember, but it changed her.
And I know most people get abducted by somebody they know, like by far
Yeah.
But still, like, it happens. I mean...
Well, that's the scariest part, is that if it's someone you know, then you're not going to have a problem getting in the car with
Right,
them.
that's true. It's a lot easier.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for really bumming me out.
So, hello, everybody. Welcome to our comedy podcast. It's a lot of fun and laughs.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
That's why we drink.
That's why we drink.
Listen, you guys agreed to this when you...
Yeah, you pressed play for the 8th time.
Yeah. You dummies.
Well, look forward to more fun in the next episode.
To more barrels of laughs.
Maybe I should always be the one telling the story afterwards.
Maybe.
So there's some comedic...
Because I feel like mine just always
value.
ended like, and then everyone died and no one knows why.
It's like sometimes I think we don't know how to open these we don't know how to introduce an episode, but we definitely can't end them.
Because
when you're like,
yeah.
and now we're all miserable. And it's
now
like,
everyone feels endangered.
And that's the show.
Children are dying and everybody's sad.
Great. I can't wait to hear all about it again next week.
The world is fucked.
Thank you, Christine, for imparting your wisdom on me and many others.
You're so welcome. I like to bring everyone down to my level, you know?
Down we are.
Yep. Bringing you down. Anyway. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you for enjoying my ghost story, because I feel like it was funnier.
Your ghost story was way more fun.
Hope you don't get haunted tonight or murdered or abducted.
Me neither.
And that's why we drink.
And that's why we drink. Okay.
Bye.
Bye, y'all. See you next week.